Good evening, dear friends, family. Hope you're absolutely doing incredible and you're feeling remarkable and amazing. This is going to be a little slightly unique and different from our normal presentations as we are totally 100% in the dark, literally and figuratively. And it's awesome that we're talking about dark and low, divine, masculine, and feminine energies because we are actually in the dark. Nashville has a full city power outage because of storms and like slight wind and some tornadoes. Everyone's fine, but there's no internet, there's no water, there's no heat. So we're cuddled together, and we're going to be doing everything from the phone. So it's incredible technology, and I'm 100% positive there'll be a glitch at some point. But I welcome everyone here. Ray, we can see you. Thank you so much for being here and always supporting us and just being such a wonderful light. I really, really appreciate your energy and your time. There's a lot of people here. Gina, welcome. Angie, Ali, welcome. Anna Maria, thanks always for being here. Gina, thank you as well. Justice, Mia, Mike, Robin, appreciate you all so much.
It's so good to be here with all of you. And oh my goodness, I'm just so excited to share all of this wisdom and everything that has been truly coming through for me and for Jeremy very, very strongly over the last couple of months. And so many of you know us very well. And some of you are meeting us for the very first time. So we're just going to introduce ourselves. I am Svetlana Newsom, and this is my most incredible, amazing Viking sane husband, Jeremy Newsom.
And we know you guys can't see us. There's no lights in the house. We thought about putting candles on, but trust me, there was nothing to actually see. It just looked a little weird, like we're doing a seance. So we already know that this topic can be a little strange to some. So there's no video. But type of 1, if you can hear us okay, you should be able to hear us relatively decently, I believe. And okay, great. So we're getting some 1s. Beautiful. Thanks, Jill. How are you, by the way? Thanks so much for telling so many people about this, Jill, and for loving on us as always. It's just so cool to have you do that. Really, really appreciate it. So yes, my name is Jeremy Newsom, and my wife and I have been married now for 2 years.
Yep.
We've in this lifetime, and we've been together coming up on 3 years. We're about to meet 3 years ago in just a few days. So we were in a COVID relationship. I landed in Las Vegas when the whole city shut down for the first time in a very, very long time. And what was really incredible is both her and I had already known a lot about this particular subject, and we were studying it before we met each other. Her more than I by leaps and bounds. But I did just find, and Anna Maria, you're going to like this a lot. And Jill, I don't know if we told you this or not, Jill, but I tracked down the dream that I wrote out for my wife. And the very, very first thing, which I actually had forgotten about, I was unaware that was the first thing. I thought I had another thing that was first. But the very first topic that I wrote down, do you remember what it was?
She was healed?
No.
No.
Apparently not. Nope. The answer is no. I asked for a very, very powerfully feminine woman. That was the very first thing I asked for. I wanted someone with beautiful, elegant, feminine energy. And that actually took me by surprise when I read that, because I truly did not remember writing that at all. But it makes a lot of sense, because I wanted a true feminine woman. And we're going to talk about this obviously very, very soon, everyone. But all of you probably likely know this. And the best way to embrace it is to really study it and then to live in it. But a true feminine woman is very healing, and there's no judgment at all, right? Pure divine feminine is just a flow, a state of ease and surrender and grace. And I always admired women who had friends that were other women, because I realized there was a lot of people who did not. And in order to have amazing friendships, really, really strong bonds, an incredible woman tribe, she has to really embrace that feminine energy. And I had never really been with a woman that had done that before. So that was the very first thing. So it's a really great that we're able to just kind of dive into this and share just a little bit about more of what her and I have been pouring into and learning and studying over the last few years.
What I would like to start with is a little differentiation and introduction about the feminine energy and masculine energy. And there is so much knowledge, there is so much information around the subject in a world, period. And some people wonder if there is really such thing as a feminine energy or such thing as a masculine energy. And the truth is there are both of those energies within all of us. We all possess feminine energy and masculine energy, every woman and every man. One of them are just a lot more natural to us and creates, because it is more natural to us and we come in such a form, it allows us to have and to bring into our world the highest and most based on the truest essence of our energies. So the feminine energy, I consider her to be a river. She always flows. Like feminine energy flows, and she she's a water, and she is very nurturing. She's very healing. She, whatever comes around her as she's flowing as a river, she doesn't judge it, right? She doesn't criticize it. She just flows over it or nurtures it, heals it. She would flow through it, around it, but she continues her flow. She continues to be the essence that is very, very nurturing and very nourishing. And the woman in her full embodiment of her womanhood, she feels nurtured and she feels very nourished. And because she's nourished herself, she's also can be nourishing to others. She is nourishing to her family, to her children, to the world. And she's not thirsty, right? She's not a thirsty woman because she's very nourished. And the feminine energy is very, very compassionate. It is compassion for the world, compassion for self, compassion for other women, compassion for children. It is gentleness and tenderness and the feeling of deep, deep truth and grace for the life experiences, right? Not the judgment for life experiences, but true grace for life experiences. And also that feminine energy is very deep, right? Feminine energy is deep, but it's not hysterical. It's a deep in truth. It's deep in the knowing. And she's also, a lot of people, they think that feminine energy is weak. And no, she's not weak. Feminine is fragile, but she's very, very far away from weak. She's very fierce, right? Feminine is very fierce. And she is fiercely strong, but she's not strong in a way that she needs to put up that armor. She doesn't need to put up the armor to say that, see me now, I am so strong. She knows that she's so fierce and so fiercely strong that she doesn't need to put any armor. And that's why she might feel fragile, but completely authentic and truthful. Masculine energy, on the other side, is very directive, right? So feminine, it flows and it flows everywhere, right? The masculine allows to direct that flow. And masculine energy is very directive. It is very discerning. It's very honorable. Also, um, and feeling on it, it is this immense power that is strong, right? Masculine is strength, um, physical strengths and mental strengths and perseverance of strengths. What else do you want to add in the masculine, my love?
I'll tell you all a fun story that might highlight some aspects of how both personalities and both energies can exist inside the same person and offer really beautiful wisdom and treats and healing. So me and my wife, after just I think it was probably a year after we got married, we were at her college in Georgia called Delphi University. And we were sitting down with one of her teachers and instructors, and her name is Patricia, right? And so Patricia was doing this drawing of our souls, and she was kind of interpreting this drawing. It was quite interesting. And as she was doing this interpretation, she was reading and saying, I love how feminine you are when you are teaching. You are so go with the flow. You are so creative. You are so in the zone. You're so open and easy and loving and guiding and caring. And Svet looked at her and she's like, oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. And Patricia went, no, 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 no. I was talking about your husband. Because both of us, both myself and my wife, obviously we do a lot of instructions and webinars and teachings and classes. It's something that we truly enjoy and we get a lot of energy from it. But her and I do actually present totally differently. And it's very beautiful to see, because there's no one on this earth more feminine than my wife. But in the same instance, I do often adapt that feminine energy when I'm teaching. It's very patient. It's very loving. It's very caring and nurturing. And the masculine energy that also I possess and also she possesses when she teaches is very forthright. It has extremely strong boundaries and a lot of, let's just call them guardrails, right? Because a strong masculine man knows how to create those boundaries and how to let other people know that they exist without having to tell them. Right? Because true masculine energy is more internal and less external, in the sense of he doesn't have to show, talk, or say. When individuals, especially men, within a few minutes of meeting them, if they're talking about their cars, their houses, the money, the clothes, right? They're always bringing up the things they just did and accomplished. That is a masculine energy, but it's on the lower spectrum. It's definitely not on the higher spectrum, because true divinity, true masculine energy doesn't have to show off, because it's shown by feeling. It's a strength and a security that is just there. So imagine when you were younger and your dad would hold you and you just felt safe. That type of energy, that safety, that security is when really heightened and enlightened masculine energy comes forth.
And for some of us, it is a subject to learn, because some of us cannot imagine that, because we haven't been held for by our fathers. And therefore, that essence might feel a little foreign. However, that essence is within you as well. And you can hold yourself in such a safety and security. And that is beautiful, because again, both of those energies are within us.
Yep. And just as a small, quick reminder for those who are just joining, Victoria, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I hope Dennis is doing incredible. Vlada, thank you so much for joining. So we are in a power outage in Nashville, and so we're doing this broadcast from our phone. So it's 1,000 times less sophisticated than what we will normally do during a broadcast. We literally just have our phone, and that's it. That's the only thing that works in this house. And we're charging that from a battery pack and from a computer that's about to die. So the next 12 hours are going to be extremely exciting. But there is a difference, obviously, between masculine and feminine energies. And one of the things that we really, really want to discuss and talk in depth is the pain and the anguish and the mediocrity that perpetrates and permeates the globe, because this is where the average man and the average woman lives. This is by far the vast majority of every single person that you run into. One of my small gifts that I realized that I had probably 5 or 6 years ago was I'm able to quite clearly and vividly see the energy, aura, and the light that someone carries on a day-to-day basis. And anytime I'm walking down the street or in a subway car or even driving or in a big crowd of people, I'm able to tap into every single auric field and kind of notice everyone's energies and the color that those energies possess. So if you all had to guess, I would love you to throw this in the chat pane, because there's really, keep in mind, there's only right answers here. What color, if you just had to assume, what color do most low feminine and low masculine individuals show in their auric field and their aura that's around their body, that this invisible light of energy? What if you had to associate a color, what color would it be for the low masculine and the low feminine? Let's see what some of you say. All right, beautiful. I love that. So we have gray. I love that answer. We have blue. Yep, I like that answer as well. Any other guesses? We have yellow, we have red. Thank you, Gina, for your answer. That's very, very great. These are beautiful colors, by the way. And you're absolutely right. All those can be certain colors that some individuals can possess depending on how they feel that particular day or that exact moment. Because again, keep in mind that these colors can obviously change depending on someone's mood, right? It's almost like mood ring, but a little bit more sophisticated in a way. But really, at least in my opinion and the way I view the world, most of these men and women who live in low masculine and low feminine, they are very frequently very, very dark colors. So almost like that was mentioned in the chat, painted blue, but instead of a beautiful like sky blue, or what's the blue stone? Emerald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of like a blue emerald, it's like the deep blue of an ocean, like the very, very deep ocean. So it's almost black. So generally really, really dark depth, low masculine, low feminine. It's very heavy. If I could give it a texture, it'd almost be like tar. Type in a 2 if you all know what tar is, like that really thick, black, sticky, just like you don't want it on you. It's going to be hard to get off. That's really the auric field that surrounds individuals in the low feminine and low masculine. And my perfect wife is going to give you a little bit more insight on what low feminine feels like and looks like and acts like.
Low feminine is a woman that she can do, but she doesn't. She can show up, but she doesn't. She chooses not to. And she's an apathetic woman. Her light is dim. Her dreams are lost. She hasn't dreamed for herself for a very, very long time. She escapes through alcohol, through medication. And she's lost in a world. She has a lot of pain in her soul, but she really pushed herself, her light, her dreams, her aspirations down for so long that she lost herself. And yesterday, as I was sitting and really connecting with this low feminine woman, was collective of the world. There was so much pain that was coming into my soul, and this word, this poem, just came through, and I really want to read it to you because I feel it describes low feminine in all the details. She lost her voice, forgot her passion, went numb inside. She put a lid on her emotions, She doesn't feel her might. Her highs or lows do not exist. She's simply a flat line. She medicates so she'd forget the empty hole inside. But this betrayal of your soul cannot be just erased. Excuses, stories, and her ways only cause more pain. She's afraid of confrontation, of what others might think or say. She's afraid of non acceptance. She just evaporates. Unnoticed, small, in her gray ways, she lives her little life. She is a quiet, unthreatening presence, and as a prey, she dies. Low feminine is a woman that's submitted to the world. She submitted to the ideas of happiness that someone else told her about. And she chose security versus her freedom, versus her light, versus her joy, her peace, her power, her love. She doesn't express love. She doesn't flow. She is just staying small, a palatable, a good girl. And even when she has, and if she has an opportunity to shift and change, she feels she's too far gone. And also, she sees so many other women that are surrounding her that are doing the same way, that are having that 9 to 5, that they are betraying their soul for money, where they are not fulfilled and not satisfied, but they are not making any changes to their life. And so this goes on and on and on. And it is the, it is a disease right now in the world, because the divine feminine is such a healing energy. The feminine is such a healing energy. And when a woman takes herself out of her own blessing of healing and nourishment, the world goes dim.
Now, to describe low masculine, I don't have such eloquent words as my wife right now, because that poem that she read was hers. And I can describe low masculine very well because I've lived there before in my life. And I think Svet has lived in her low feminine. I think we've all lived in a low part at some point. And that's okay. That can be a natural progression in life, because as above is so below. So you can only go as high as you've gone down. But with low masculine, and I know most of the crowd here is female. So for just a moment, ladies, let's hate on some low masculine for a bit. It's okay to hate on this type of masculine energy because it's really not serving at all. The low masculine is demeaning. It's hateful. It's spiteful. It's quiet, very tame, very hidden, very dark. Dark in the way of escapism, gaslighting. They are the type of energies, these men that are going to choose to sit at a bar or to play video games or to escape from obligations, from family life, from doing big things with their dreams. These are the type of men that will very easily have a kegerator in the house, watch a lot of sports with a huge TV, far away from the family, being by themselves, not in a good way, but just to escape the pain of the world and also the joy of the world. The low masculine man is one that just, they exist. They're here. They add very, very little overall arching value to their lives and to the lives of those around them. They're not worried about their future. They're not really worried about their legacy. These men do not know their worth at all, and they have never invested in their worth whatsoever. These men, these women, these low feminine and masculine energies, for those who are here, they just exist. As soon as I said that word exist, the movie Wall-E popped into my brain. Type in the 7 if you've ever seen that movie Wall-E with the robot, when all the people are like fat and they're on like conveyor belts everywhere, and they're just getting shifted from one place to the one place to the next in the space shuttle. It's kind of like low feminine, low masculine energy. Like they want to be there, they want to be alive, and they want to be entertained at all times. It's very, very hard for a low masculine or low feminine energy person to pour into themselves because they don't know how. They don't want to. They don't even know that it's available to them to really go deep enough to find how they can really create incredible, incredible change. And of course, if you have any questions as well, for those who are here, please feel free to ask those. Let's see. Yeah, but we do have 3 men that are here. Yes, absolutely. We have, so there are some guys here. So when I say ladies and gentlemen, my boys, thanks Gino and Mike for being here. By the way, gentlemen, really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. Victoria says they would choose to spend their Friday night like these. Most will resonate and learn. Yeah, precisely. So, I mean, Mike and Gino, right? They're here. They're here on a Friday night when it'd be very, very easy to go get drunk and play video games and, be at a bar and go hang out with their friends and do nothing. But instead, we have my man Jake, we have Mike, and we have Gino pouring into themselves late night on a Friday night. That is almost the exact opposite of low masculine and low feminine energies. Angie says Blake is on tonight as well. All right. High five to Blake, my dude. Thanks so much for showing up, my brother. I really appreciate it. So yeah, a lot of 7s came in the chat pin because a lot of people know a lot of individuals like that. I think we all do, and it's okay. I'm not saying that it's a death sentence to be a low masculine, low feminine energy. As I mentioned, both myself and my wife have been in this environment in our life, but we did not decide to stay there very long. And one of the ways to escape this really baseline, non-existent, non-exciting, non-hilly world is to dive into the darkness, to dive into the real depths and the demons that all exist within us.
So the moment the woman goes, I'm tired, she starts hearing her soul. She feels exhausted by suppressing her light, her soul's voice, her desires. Usually the dark feminine shows up. And dark feminine psyche, she is a revealer and destroyer. She will reveal everything in every area of your life where you betray yourself, and she will destroy. So when dark feminine shows up, she destroys. She destroys a lot of things that aren't true. And she reveals a lot of things that also are not true. Every area where you betrayed yourself, where you denied, where you hidden, where you didn't show up, gets revealed. And dark feminine brings out a lot of our shadows. And she also can feel quite powerful, but it is a very false power.
Mm.
And some of the ways that the dark feminine shows up is she might show up as the destruction, as manipulation, as control, as rebellion, right? She can show up as just being very rebellion. She can show up as this confusion or neediness or shame or guilt or worry or submission. But dark feminine is a very, very necessary energy for a woman to understand because she exists in all of us. Some just learn how to be with her and work with her because she is the broken, painful parts of ourselves that we have been hiding in a closet for a very long time. And when she marches out from that closet, she is pissed. And she is pissed in a big way. She's pissed at her man because he did that to her. She's pissed at herself because she allowed to be treated a certain way for so long. She is pissed at anyone and everyone. But always, always the journey goes within. Because a lot of women, they know they're dark feminine, but they have no idea how to hold their divine feminine light. And if you are constantly going from low feminine to the dark feminine, you are for real crazy, neurotic, psychotic bitch. You are the destroyer. You create so much darkness. It is difficult. It is harsh. It is horrific to be around a woman like that. And yes, she gets a lot of power. And yes, she gets her way, or she thinks she gets her way. But she's so far away, disconnected from her light. She's so far gone from her essence, from her love, from her divinity, from her flow, from her elegance, from her beauty. She is so far gone from all that is good and of God. And so we see a lot of women being pushed too far, and then the dark shows up. But it's so important to lean into the light because she can swallow you. She can really take you down. She can destroy you, your family, and the world that you live in. She is extremely dangerous. And it requires a strong, courageous, incredible, divine, and devotional woman to crystallize in her light and become a best friend with her dark feminine, because she can heal her as well. She can love her as well. She can accept her as well, and she can guide her.
For my guys who were here, this is a part, and this is an essence that you generally will not have. We did mention earlier that every single person has both feminine and masculine energies, but the darkness, the real depth, the caverns and the caves, my friends, these are individual to each sex. The dark masculine energy is one that is best described, or I would best call, a warrior. And a warrior in the way that he is always fighting. He's always angry. He's channeling his purest natural instinct. And dark masculine, although it's extremely powerful and is required for every single man who is here to know what that looks like and what he feels like. Because listen to what both my wife and I are saying. The dark feminine and dark masculine are crucial to both have, know, and understand. But these energies are so all encompassing and so easy and glorious and simple to tap into and accepted by so much of the society that if you stay in this too long, you will know nothing else. It becomes extremely, extremely hard to escape, because with the dark masculine energy comes so much power and conviction and purpose. But instead of being driven by love and light, you're driven by pain and anger. And when you're driven by pain and anger, my men, we all know that that can only go so far. And for a lot of gentlemen who are here, we haven't explored our dark masculine energy because we've just lived in our low energies. We've lived where it's easy, where it's simple, where we're just escaping, because it takes a true warrior spirit to go into the darkness, to go into the pits of hell, to see the monster that lies within all of us. Because if that monster gets a hold of you, you might not ever come out. And all my men here know what that monster is. We've probably had very, very small glimpses of him and what he looks like and what he feels like. And our lady certainly has, I'm sure, seen glimpses of that person, of that man, of the monster that's within all of us. Because it's extremely, extremely dangerous to use that energy and that power for manipulation, for being the dominant force in a relationship. Because the only way a woman will fight back is she will also go into her darkness. So when you have a dark feminine and a dark masculine couple, you're going to have people that are always fighting, that are always at each other's throats, that are always vicious, malicious, and they very, very rarely produce or pronounce any words of love or attribution towards each other. The dark masculine male, in all essence, if you ever see the TV show Vikings, would very much be that type of energy, where it's my way, it's what I want, or I will essentially murder you. For the women, they will use their power, their extreme power, for seduction, destruction, manipulation, and control. But for us men, we will only use it to get what we want, because men are extremely selfish. And when you are in that dark masculine, you're tapping into full 100% selfishness.
It is very, very important to know about those energies. And I see a lot of people being so fascinated by them, and they go and do a lot of inner child work, shadow work, all kind of other work. However, you can be lost in the neurosis of your psyche for the rest of your life and for eternity, unless you step into your divine feminine nature.
It's a really good question, Jill. So I'm gonna let's answer this together. So does the dark masculine always come out in a violent way, or can it be more passive?
Passive is a low masculine. Low masculine is very passive. Dark masculine is very active. It might be more mature and come out with a very sophisticated game of its power, but it is not going to be apathetic in any kind of form or way.
Yeah, great question. And
I just for clarification, I guess I just wanted to know, like, is it actually like violent, or can it be, like you said, manipulative and in calm, seemingly calm, very sophisticated in its manipulation, but not like violent and, throwing tantrums and yelling and all of
correct.
that? Okay, that's what I want, because I think there's a difference to me. Is like low masculine is kind of seems more passive and quiet, but yet there's also, I was wondering if the dark masculine can be the same way without being like, a leader in a company could be a dark masculine person, but they're not going to throw a temper tantrum at a board meeting, but yet they have a very sophisticated way of being dark masculine without having to, be very primal in the way that their behavior is.
You nailed it. And I love that you use that word primal, because that's a lot of what the darkness is. Because again, every single person here needs to know that darkness inside of them. They need to explore it and to be friends with those to be friends with that monster or that witch that's within both of us, because the dark masculine man and the dark masculine woman, we are out for one thing, and that is all 100% what we want, and in a very manipulative, very negative way that almost produces very little net value, and it's extremely base desires of all kinds.
And at the end of the day, it can never fulfill you. It can never satisfy you. It never feels enough. That hunger of that dark feminine or dark masculine just never satisfied. Like it never can be, like you will never feel full. Ever. And so it is a psychotic way of being that just expand and extends and becomes more, and it never feels fulfilled. And so the only way to salvation, the only way to wholeness, the only way to peace is through love and through light. And that is where the divine feminine and divine masculine comes in. And without knowing your divine feminine, without being a divine feminine, you have no idea, you have no need opening that closet for your dark feminine, because she will swallow you. You'll have no chance. So you need to know your divine essence. You need to know your knowing. Divine feminine is a very, very highly intuitive woman. She knows that she comes from God, that she's one with God, that she is an extension of God, that she's always connected to divine. She has a sense and an intuition that is so highly developed. She knows, and she knows her truth. And she trusts herself. She believes herself. She relies on herself. She worships herself. And she's compassionate to herself. She's kind to herself. She's deeply loving to herself and to the world. And therefore, when she is it, she can have a very loving conversation with her dark side and say, listen, I see you and hear you. Yes, it does hurt a lot. Come here, come closer, let me love on you. We don't need to destroy nothing. I will never betray you. Like divine telling the dark, I will never betray you. I will never leave you. I will always be here for you. You're safe with me. You will always have my love. And that's what the dark feminine been always looking for. And you can give it yourself. You don't need, ladies, you don't need a man to give it to you. And actually, a man cannot give it to you if you don't have it for yourself. No one can give it to you. It is your personal journey. And so many women out there are searching for a man to give them that love. But unless you have this divine wisdom, divine love, divine grace, divine kindness, and compassion for yourself, you won't be able to attract a man, right, who is that light essence. You will have a very difficult time because your dark will be repelling him.
And remember earlier, my wife mentioned that, and Gino, I love that two things about you, Gino. I love that you use the word insatiable, and I also love that you have your crew of guys on the couch all listening in. My boys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it, guys. So that insatiableness, that word used, Gino, that insatiable, I can't be fully pleased, that always longing is a great way to know that you're in your dark masculine or dark feminine a lot. because low masculine and low feminine generally don't even know that exists. They haven't even tapped into the pursuit of happiness.
They're usually happy.
Exactly.
They're happy. They're okay. Life is okay.
There's nothing wrong.
Nothing is wrong. I'm just counting my blessings. Everything is falling apart, but it's okay. And so that low essence makes okay out of everything, and wears a fake mask of pretentious happiness, fake mask of just a lot of fakeness around everything. And that is a low, right? So the dark is she's very raw.
Yeah, at least she has directions.
Yeah.
She knows where she wants to go. She knows that she wants to burn the village down. She knows that she wants to take out all his past relationships and current relationships and future relationships. And him as well, right? They have one goal, one direction, but they are going towards a road that has no end in sight. And when it comes to divinity, my friends who are here, when it comes to rising up, this is for the man, the truest protector and the truest giver of light. As men, in order to truly step into divinity is when you feel, and everyone around you feel extremely safe. Mm-hmm. They feel extremely protected, and they feel very, very warm in your presence, because there's nothing to show. There's nothing to offer or to show off. It is just simply an energy of welcoming and absolute unquestionable protection, of really, really powerful kindness, love, and a space of genuine care for each person who enters that type of presence. And for both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, this is the space that most people, I would hope, would one day try to aim for, because it's a place of fulfillment. It's a place of, when someone asks you, how are you feeling? Every fiber in your body is truly and actually and irrevocably happy and pleased. You feel an amazing blend of contentment and joy, but also excitement for the future to grow. Knowing that you have a 10 out of 10 relationship with your body, you have a 10 out of 10 relationship with your parents and siblings and family. You have a 10 out of 10 relationship with your children, with your wife, with your spouse. Everything is tapped out to the max. Your money, your time, your energy, your health, your vitality, and you still are in a space that you just want more, because it's so much fun and it's so easy and it's so simple and so caring.
This is the essence that brings wholeness. This is the essence, the divine essence that brings peace. And this is the only essence that you can trust. And when a man in his divine masculine, we trust him. We trust him. And when a woman is in her divine feminine, we trust her. But most importantly, when you are in your divine essence, you can trust yourself. Finally, you can trust yourself. And all the mistakes that you once made, and all the life experiences, and all of the betrayals, that now all can evaporate, and that now all can be released and become a wisdom of your dark and low essences, because you have a new space and a new place which you can trust. And that is your divine nature, your divine light, your divine love. And when you have an experience and the connection with the divine light, you bring in your life divine love. Your life becomes divine. it is truly fulfilling. It is truly whole. It is truly beautiful. And it doesn't mean that you don't have any problems. It doesn't mean that you don't have things appearing in your life. Remember again, me talking about river in the very beginning? River just flows. Everything is there, but doesn't judge is it as good as bad. It just continues to flow. Its nourishment, its love, and feeling nourished and feeling loved and given more life and given more light and experiences itself as the highest version of herself.
Yeah, a great example of this, I'll let Svet tell the story, is one of her teachers who we would both fully agree is a divine queen, a woman who lives in her divine feminine on a daily basis, but did encounter a problem. What was that problem, my love?
Judy, recently? Yes, a 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with cancer. And it was actually the most a beautiful experience of anyone I've ever seen, because she is in her 60s now, late 60s. And I remember sitting there and she's like, yes, I would be sitting with her having our lunch. And she was about to go into chemo and shave her head. And she had this big piece around all of it. And she said, this is my time to be with myself. I am going to be healing generational pain and generational trauma. My mother had the same cancer, and my grandmother did, and it ends with me. And it was absolutely incredible. She walked her journey, and she's back teaching. And when I saw her last time, I started crying. And she said, well, I'm living my next life now, and I'm building a foundation for it. Right? And so how beautiful it is to have that type of knowing, that type of conviction, that type of love and light in the heart and in the life, to that no matter what comes in, to see, oh, wow, this is a lesson. This is the work that I'm going to do for my ancestral healing, so it can be ended and done.
Yeah, I just always thought that was really great, because she's aware that cancer, right? Cancer is a dis-ease of the body. She's the one that taught us that, essentially. And her having that realization that, like, oh, yeah, there is something wrong with me. There is a challenge that I have to face here, right? A divine woman who lives in her light literally every day, and embrace the fact that she's like, yeah, I have breast cancer, and did all the things, didn't avoid it, didn't, like, just start eating grass every day to avoid cancer. She went with modern medicine, but at the same exact instance, she was aware that this was a healing journey, that she had to heal her generations and all the women in her lineage. And then she went out and did it and came back, cancer's gone, and just kept on doing her thing, a few months later. Just a really remarkable story of, we're obviously not saying that a divine couple will not have their challenges, will not have really, really fun obstacles that they get to climb, but they're going to be able to do it with such ease and simplicity and such grace. So I'll tell you all a really fun story. Most of you have heard the story, I'm sure, but just in case, and maybe just to reiterate. So about a year ago, I was embarking on a challenge called the Calendar Club with my push-ups. And I was doing this to train to eventually do 10,000 push-ups in one day, a 24-hour period. And in the month of February, I was doing 100 push-ups times the day. Well, there was a certain day, February 23rd, where I had just gone through a retreat for my company. So I was hosting an event that was, 5 days long. So it was from like the 19th through the 23rd. And, we were just wrapping up. So these are, 15 hour days. being all in, on stage the whole time, going, still doing my push-ups. So 100 times a day, right? So, on stage, I'm doing 1,900 push-ups on the 19th, and then 2,000 push-ups on the 20th, and then 2,100 push-ups, right? Not all at once, obviously. These are spread out throughout the day. But the 23rd of February, I come home, and I was tired. I was annoyed. I was frustrated, and I told my wife, like, "Hey, listen, I'm quitting. I'm giving up. This is stupid. I'm really done." And she went off and had a horrendous fight that night. Everything just went really, really astray because I was in a bad mood. She was in a bad mood, and we just started arguing, almost trying to kill each other that particular night. Is a story that most people would expect. That's the ending that probably a lot of people would most likely be totally understanding. But that's actually not what happened at all. When I walked in the door, I was tired, I was frustrated, I was annoyed. It was about 9 p.m. I had just driven 6 hours back from Atlanta to Nashville, Tennessee. And the very first thing that she asked me was, have I completed my push-ups yet for the day? And when I told her no, and I hadn't started, and I was done, and I was quitting, instead of fighting, instead of yelling, instead of really calling me names and saying I'm a pussy and saying I'm not strong enough and not good enough, and she knew I would quit, and I'm really pathetic and what a baby, right? Instead of fighting me, causing me, right, gentlemen? I mean, how many times have we been attacked by a woman, and we're going to drop right into our dark masculine and overpower her with words and with physicality? Instead of that happening, she stayed in her beautiful high vibrational state and was talking about how powerful I am, and how I'm a man of honor, and how I'm an incredible man of integrity, and how I'm all the words that I like, right? All the words of affirmation that make me feel good. And I went off and did my 2,300 push-ups for the next 4 hours in the bathroom all by myself, and finished around 1 a.m. that morning. And I did feel good. I did end up finishing the rest of the month after that day. But it goes to show you a few things. Number one, every journey is going to have massive challenges ahead of it, regardless of what the journey is. I can only hope for everyone here that you end up having to pay a $10 million tax bill one day. I think that would be one of the best gifts that anyone here could ever receive. And I sure hope that I'm in that position one day, because I have to pay $10 million of taxes. I sure hope to hell that I made $30 million or more that year. Now, that being said, we also would love to talk a little bit about the divine union and how a couple can stay in a light of both happiness and joy, so they can pour into each other and continue to elevate each other throughout everything that they do.
I love love so much. And I truly wish divine union on every person that is here, because there is nothing more exciting and fulfilling to share that light that you have inside with someone else. And that is the very, very first principle of a divine union, is that you're already divine, and you are wanting to experience this beautiful love and light that is already inside of you with someone else, to magnetize it, to be even more of it. Most people, they are looking for a lover or a partner to fill in a hole that is within them. Divine union is not. That is your low feminine or your dark masculine that is looking to fill up some kind of hole. So it starts with self growth. It starts with self embodiment. It starts with a devotion and showing up. But then when you are in a relationship, a divine woman will bring out a divinity in her man, and a divine man will bring out the divinity in his woman, because the way they see each other is through those eyes of deep, deep love, of deep devotion. But also what happened is that they can trust. They can trust themselves, and they can trust their partner. And they can feel secure to trust all that comes up and all that goes out. And so in a divine union, the conversation and communication comes from a heart center, from a space of love, from a space of adoration. And whenever something rises in such a union, at first, the situation is being processed by individuals on their own. A lot of times when we have something we don't like in our partner, we run and we just chew him apart or chew her apart. But in divine union, you sit with yourself. Why does it bother me? What is showing up for me here? Oh, hello, my little dark feminine psyche. What do you want to do? Oh, I see. Okay, why? It hurts. Oh, yes, that behavior definitely hurts. Yes, I'm feeling not chosen. Can I choose myself deeper right now? Yes, and sometimes choosing self means saying no to your partner. Sometimes it's saying goodbye. I will not allow to be, I love you, but I love myself too. And I love myself so much that I need to walk away from this, right? And so that is also a beautiful divine way. But a lot of times in divine union, you bring out the highest parts of your partner by shining light into them. And so, yes, you first process on your own, and then you communicate with wisdom. And I know a few of you here that already are registered for my Become a Divine Queen Sacred Container. And we will get to practice a lot the communication, because I believe everything can be spoken when it's spoken out from your heart. And you have to speak your truth. But the danger is that your truth? Is that your real truth? A lot of times we don't sit with that long enough to realize, is that my truth? Or is that what my girlfriend told me? Or is that what the world is telling me it's supposed to be? Right? But when you recognize, yes, this is my truth, that absolutely has to be shared and communicated and expressed.
Yep. So from a standpoint of this union, ladies and gentlemen, I love what my wife mentioned on how this is still a time where you just have to sit down rather than I think Svetlana asked me like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like, have I ever made you mad? I did not answer right away. I took the smart route, right? Meaning the divine nature in all of us, we sit down for a moment before we answer. I noticed just recently, I was at a few events in the past few days where I would notice couples and I would listen very closely to how they talked about each other. And one of the things I want, and I would love for every man and woman in here to do, just as a takeaway, just as something to practice. I loved seeing it in Victoria when I saw her and Dennis in the same building, in the same retreat that we were at, how much she poured into him and how much he poured into her. And all they did was speak kindness over each other and into each other. It was really, really beautiful. And anytime that we have not only relationships as in an intimate relationship, but also friendships, we're not saying that you're never going to have challenges. In fact, I always tell my business partners or potential business partners, especially if they're friends of mine, we will have a disagreement. We better have a disagreement. There absolutely needs to come a time where you and I do not agree on something. And if that's not the case, then one of us is not needed in this business. Because if we're always having the exact same idea and we're always agreeing with each other, then what am I here for? Meaning it's okay to have disagreements. It's absolutely extremely healthy to not always see to eye on everything. But the way you speak that is what will signal and what will show your divinity and your healing nature. Is how you speak to others, it's how you speak to yourself, it's how you speak to your lover, and it's how you speak to your parents and your friends. Those languages, those words, the words that you speak create you for me. And when you want to speak greatness into someone, that's exactly what you need to do. So we'll pause here for just a moment. Does anyone have any questions at all? We scheduled this for 90 minutes and we have plenty of time left. I'd love to answer or just at least provide any type of guidance or insight on anything. If it's a relationship question, if it's an energy question, if anyone has a question, we would love to answer it to the best of our capabilities. You guys are good? Okay, cool. Well, if there is one that pops up, feel free just to unmute.
I just didn't know if it's in the chat or not.
Oh, yeah, let me go check. Sorry. Again, apologize, team, for being a little janky. It's good times. It wasn't expected, but I can use the Zoom. I'm pretty good on Zoom. Let's see if there's anything in the chat pane. Nope, nothing on the chat pane. Gino, who are your buddies who are sitting next to you, man? Who are these awesome looking guys? Hey, what's up, legend? Victoria, how are you and Dennis doing, by the way? How's my dude? Oh, you got to unmute, dear. It's okay. And then, Gino, I'm answering your question. Thanks for typing it in, my guy.
Hi there.
Hey, Victoria. We just love your voice. That's why I'm calling you out. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. You know, that retreat was really good for us. Yeah, very good.
I love it. Awesome. So glad that you're both doing well. And I'm really, really happy. I love how much he cares about you and vice versa. It's always incredible to see couples that in love. Angie, if you or Blake have any questions as well, Mike, if you and your perfect wife would like to discuss anything, it could be anything at all. Happy to address it to the best of our capabilities. All right. So Gino has a great question.
I think if I can just add, Jeremy.
Please.
I just wanted to say, I don't want to, jump into our story, but I just wanted to say, I think all these learnings and that beautiful Anna Maria, I think, with her friends, their man friends, it's so nice because I think all these learnings, they just, they help to find more compassion for each other, and just more compassion and understanding, and not to be in the opposite camps, masculine and feminine, to be different, but also to see each other, to find and look for that divinity in each other. And, when you're looking for it, you will most likely find, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Gotta start looking. That is absolutely correct. You nailed it. So Gino says, what are some ways to channel the beast energy? And then after that, Amit and Miguel are my friends. Amit is asking this question. Okay, sweet. So what are some ways to channel the beast energy? I'll let Svet answer and then I'll give my answer. I'll see what she.
You go.
So the beast energy, let's refer that to essentially the dark masculine, right? Because the dark masculine, that's the warrior, the beast that's within every male, and it does need to be channeled, but more importantly, it needs to be conquered, and it needs to know that it is also cared for, respected, and admired. Because here's the truth: most most people, not just men, but most people are extremely afraid of judgment. And when I say judgment, like it's one of their top number one fears. So judgment specifically being trying something and not accomplishing it, right? AKA failure. The beast is when you tap into the energy of all of your ancestors, every man before you, so that you show yourself what true accomplishment actually feels like. The majority of men in this world will never know that power. I'll give you an example. This might be a really surprising statistic, I'm not sure, but there are only 500,000 individuals currently living who have ever finished an Ironman race. So 500,000 out of 7 billion, it's an extremely, extremely small percentage. Because in order to finish that particular event, which is an endurance event usually spanning over the course of 13, 14 hours, over 140 miles, you're having to tap into some very unique reserves, right? Some very, very special energies. And there's both darkness and light. It's a beautiful blend. Gina, my woman's done 3. There we go. Welcome to the party. I love it. That's super inspiring. It's incredible. So it is a very humongous accomplishment, but it is one that will build both your integrity and your trust, Amit, because when you do it, not necessarily an Ironman, but when you put yourself on a personal pedestal to say, this is what I'm going to do, you prove to yourself that you actually can. And that proving will create a confidence that you are going to be able to kind of push through and actually channel that beast-like, warrior-like energy that's within all of us. Ask Gino about how he did it, because that guy was carrying everyone up on his back, right? Some heavy, heavy individuals. But for the first 2 or 3 men that he had to carry up those steps, he didn't really like it, but he had to figure out how to keep going forward. And one thing that will help, Amit, and I hope I'm saying your name right, is one thing that will absolutely help is having a tribe, because all men are pack animals and we have to lead together. So being a lone wolf, being a solo wolf, very, very, very rarely will be extremely conducive. So we have to, as men, have a very strong tribe of guys that push each other to limits that we might not thought was possible. And when we do that, that's how we can start channeling that energy.
It is very important for a man to find a holy grail, to find that holy thing to go for. So
men love conquest.
Yes.
We love
and you
victory.
have to conquest, because if a man never conquests anything, he is in his low.
Yep.
And it's very difficult to access divine. It's very difficult to access the darkness.
Because you don't believe that it's there if you don't do anything great, right?
Correct. And so there needs to be, and again, that whole reason might be, I want to prove myself that I am different. Like, or I want to win the heart of this woman. And therefore, I am going to completely change, because again, I know that within me, there is a different man, and he's ready to show up. He's ready to step up. He's ready to be who I've never been before.
Yeah.
And I don't give a, whatever if I would fail, because it's not an option. I'm all in. And when you go all in on something and you achieve it, you make it, you can look yourself in a mirror in your own eyes and say, dang, man, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And the reality is, man, it doesn't matter how much your woman loves you and how much she's proud of you. If you are not, you'll be always They are in your low masculine,
moping around.
mopping around. You have to find it for yourself.
Yeah. And so I like how my wife mentioned the holy, something powerful and positive and holy, because I'll give you an example of a conquest that's not holy. 7 years ago and earlier, right, from essentially 16 to 25-ish, my conquest was a bottle challenge every New Year's, right? I get a handle of alcohol and see if I can drink the whole thing in a day. Right? That's not an example of a really, really let me see if I can finish this 12 pack. That's not an accomplishment. That's not a positive accomplishment. Now, I did it, to be clear, just to make sure that we're on the same page. But it's not a good accomplishment. That's not something you're gonna feel amazing and incredible about. So there are certain things for both men and women, by the way, because women, that darkness, it's also extremely competitive. Let's be clear, it's very, very useful for us to really, really know what we're valued for. And we will not know our value unless we prove our value to ourselves, for sure. Yeah, it's a great question. I appreciate that.
I think for women, it is more that we can trust ourselves.
Yeah.
Because when we can trust ourselves, we know that we can rise up, we can overcome, that we can and still be kind to ourselves, compassionate to ourselves, love in ourselves through any and all the diversity. When we have this inner trust, we are unstoppable. We're unstoppable in our light. We're unstoppable in sharing our light. We become unstoppable in being authentic and being ourselves and sharing ourselves from the depths of our souls. Everything becomes possible for us, but it is that inner trust that we need to develop. And that inner trust only can be developed through your divine feminine essence.
I love it. Great questions, team. Thank you. Is that Justice? She says, powerful input. Thank you. Thank you. Ariana says, driving relationships retreat sounds good. Is there a website to know more about it? Oh, Divine Relationship Retreat. Yeah, thank you so much for asking. We're not entirely sure when the next one is. If we had to guess, it's probably going to be October, November, December in Nashville, Tennessee. But what I would love for you to do is if you could send a message to my wife's Instagram. I'm sure you probably have it, but just in case you don't, I'll send you a quick message of what it is, and you and her can kind of chat about it, because we do have a website on it, just to be clear. But the last one just finished, and it was really, really remarkable. We got to spend, we actually have had two, and that's how I know Gino so well, and that's how I know Jill and Victoria so well, because we've already experienced that together. So
Yes, and right now it's we don't have one on a calendar, but I'm sure that we will put something in the fall.
Yeah, there'll be something coming up. If you feel like, team and ladies and gentlemen who are here, if you feel like it's a really good time to consider continuing to do something, we are going to be creating a program that starts very, very soon. For my men, it's going to be called the Divine King, the Mastermind for Men. A lot of gentlemen I know want to step up and do something really big in their life. They're tired of pursuing happiness and they're ready to actually live in happiness. They're tired of making mediocre, relatively shit money, and they want to start making some legit money. Because my men, if you're talking about tapping into that beast energy, the warrior energy, money is a relationship energy. And there's nothing in my mind that's easier to accomplish than that. The accomplishment of being able to find out what your true value is and asking it from the world. Because if you have true actual value that you've created, then you can and should get paid for it. And if you don't, then it's time to start stepping up and getting that value and creating it. And then for my wife,
oh my goodness, ladies, I have been in this most powerful feminine, all-encompassing energy for the last months. And I am so excited for this round of my Become a Divine Queen sacred container. And it is an 8-week program that is really designed for the embodiment of divine feminine, but also there will be different practices to release energies, to heal the old wounds, to connect with your dark feminine, to actually establish relationship with her so she can be in a safe place, so she can feel loved and understood and seen, so that she doesn't need to act up, she doesn't need to burn city, she doesn't need to go in her low ways to get her ways. And I have some most amazing guest speakers that already lined up, and there will be a lot of healing that will be taking place. Emotional healing, sexual healing, physical healing, mental healing, and spiritual healing. And so I am super duper excited about this. All the poems that you've been hearing from me, they've been all coming through over the last week or so. And I just can't wait to pour all of this energy into all of you and hold your hand in this rising. Because again, Dalai Lama said that the world would be saved by a Western woman. Why Western woman? Because we actually have we can express our voice. We can make a difference. There are so many sisters that are in other parts of the world that they do not have the same privileges we do. And I believe that the world will be changed, saved by a consciousness of a Western woman. And as we arise, as we liberate ourselves, as we become more compassionate, as we become more love and more flow, this is a way. So I really, women, I call on all of you that are here. This is your time. You got to get out of the slow feminine. You got to get out of the dark destruction. It is time to learn a different way. It is time to embody her, to become her. The world needs you. Your children need you. Your daughters need you. You need to teach them how to do it a different way. Your man needs you. And the same thing for men. We need whole, strong, incredible men in the world, because women are carriers of light in the world and men are protectors of light in the world. And we have been feeling very, very vulnerable because we haven't been having men to actually protect us, because they've been in their low, apathetic ways, or they've been in their dark masculine, and dark masculine destroys feminine. Dark masculine picks it apart. It prosecutes, it kills, it destroys in all kinds of ways. And this is again a call for all of you men. It's enough. Enough of playing this little game of hoping that you can just escape through life and somehow find this inner honor. You never will unless you freaking show up. And it's time for you to show up. It's time for you to show up for yourself, for the generation that will come after you, for your children, for your women, for your mothers. It's time for you to show up. It's been way too freaking long that you've been sitting and not showing up. We need you. We need you. And I speak as a collective of women. We've been begging, we've been crying, we've been asking you individually in our apartments, in our homes. It's time. The collective is asking you, it's time for you to rise up.
Well, damn, there you go. You know, it was very amazing because 3 years ago, that's what my wife told me to my face. After we had our healing, she sat down and looked at me and said, "Why are you playing so small? Why are you being such a little boy and hiding from the world and not showing your greatness and not really, really being the true man that you are? It's time." And she told me, just like she just told all of you, And what was beautiful about it though is she's right. She was right, and she is right. I have, for my gentlemen who are here, but also for my ladies, I'm sure my women can attest to this. The United States of America, and I'm sure other countries as well, but I live here. The United States of America has a problem of quality men. It's an extreme lack of really, really powerful, divine, courageous, intelligent, creative, wealthy, healed men. We need more of it in the world, and I'm going to be creating that through my Divine King Mastermind for Men program. My wife's going to do it for the women. And I truly want to say, for everyone who is here, thank you so much for giving us your time and your energy. I hope you all know that we care about you so much, and this is our only intention, is to pour light, love, and happiness into everyone who is here. I do apologize for the slight technical snafus, although it really came across fine and the message was great. It just wasn't with our normal technology apropos. Jill, you're a truly terrific woman. And I loved seeing how graceful you were this past week. It was so cool and so badass to just watch you shine and just have this incredible shield of greatness that just, you didn't have any of the haters. You had your haters blockers on and you were just being your queen and stepping in it and flowing in it. And I loved it. Ray, you're going to flipping lose your mind when you go through Svet's course. I have a bunch of tissues everywhere. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of great transformation. And for all my men on the call, I really hope you get a chance to check out that link. I would love to serve you at a space and a time and an energy that you've never been challenged before. I promise. I can assure that any man here, I would offer an open invitation to come to Nashville at any point in time and outwork me for an hour or for a day or for a minute, because I want to pour absolute, unquestionable, unstoppable Viking energy into all the men that are here and pull out the warrior spirit so that you can pour in the true light to protect your woman and your family. We love you so much, everyone.
I asked Robin earlier to drop the links.
She did.
Okay, she's the most amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Robin. Love you so much.
Robin.
You've been blessing in my life.
Yes, thank you.
So blessed. Thank you.
You're so wonderful, Robin. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time on Friday night. We are waving to you, but you can't see us. And we're giving you kissy faces, but you can't see us.
Love you guys.
We still have no power. So
it's been 5 hours. I don't think I'll get it anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. But all right, everyone. I love you. You're all incredible. Thank you so much for your time. And we hope to see you next week in the Divine King or the Divine Queen program. Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
Good night.